Hello, beautifuls. In society, we tend to think of grief as the process and feelings that we experience after someone dies. And the reality is there are many, many losses that we grieve. And today I wanted to talk about a lesser discussed aspect, and that is anticipatory grief. Now, for many, when I say anticipatory grief, the idea of a life-threatening diagnosis comes up. And definitely, that is one of the areas in which we see anticipatory grief. But it is much more than that. Anticipatory grief has been referred to as the mourning of past, present, and future losses. And when we take a look at the relationship between patient and caregiver, those two roles, there are numerous amounts of losses that they will experience. Now, many people think of the caregiver and the family when they hear the term anticipatory grief. Yet there are many, many losses that the patient too will grieve during this process. For example, the loss of their body, the way their body used to feel, the way their body used to move, and what it even looked like. There might be losses about the role in which they played in the family. Maybe they identified as the strong breadwinner, and now they are the ones being taken care of. There are many losses that the patient faces, and those are just a few. When we look at the caregiver too, they experience many losses, and that of watching the health and wellness of someone they love diminish, of maybe the loss of their future dreams and goals that they had planned together with this individual. Maybe they even grieve that they have so much more responsibility that they have to take on in this place. In this dynamic, life changes dramatically for both the patient and the caregiver. There are so many losses. For example, loss of intimacy, loss of dignity, loss of privacy, loss of independence, and oftentimes financial losses. And of course, the list goes on and on. And even though these losses in this process are normal, they come with anger, sadness, loneliness, and abandonment. Oftentimes, both the caregiver and the patient feel either isolated or invisible. Now, for the caregiver, there's a real mixed bunch of emotions as they sit day in and day out in that painful place of watching their loved ones suffer. There's a desire for relief and an understanding that relief will only come with death. And that follows with a lot of guilt, because then they feel guilty that they're wishing for the death of their loved one, when in reality that is not what they are wishing for. They are wishing for a relief or an ease. And to cope with this hurricane of emotions that comes with being a caregiver and being the patient, it is vital to express what is going on, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They need to be expressed, they need to be heard, and they need to be validated. So I would encourage anybody that's going through this type of situation as patient or caregiver to reach out to a friend, to a church member, maybe a volunteer, or to a professional such as myself, in order to help you move with this process. Otherwise, all of those emotions and feelings become stuck within. And I wanted to mention how imperative it is to have communication between patient and caregiver. And yes, there are some things that might not be appropriate to discuss with each other, and that is why you can reach out to the individuals that I mentioned earlier. But there is so much going on for both of you that an open communication is really important, and to give each other the opportunity to say things that you've always wanted to share with each other, because in that space, it also reduces the amount of guilt that one experiences at the passing of their loved one. And I just want to mention too, if you are a caregiver at this time, it is so important for you to take some time and space for your self-care. The job that you are carrying out now is a very weighty and noble job, but it takes a toll on all aspects of your being. And so to find ways in which you can nourish and fill each and every one of those aspects, mind, body, soul. And until we speak again, please be well.